and all that other stuff. But yeah. I was just thinking right now, we got a meeting.
Yeah.
And so, I think the weather is where it's cold in the morning and it's hot at night.
Mhm.
I walk everywhere, so I'm like hitting the elements, and I try to pick up trash, but right around Manchester, they got just so much abuse of people throwing stuff.
Uh-huh.
Just really bad. And it's like 2 minutes from a school. So sad, sad.
Yeah. What school do you live near?
Fort Miller. Fort Miller.
Okay, I am gonna go get water really quickly. I'll be right back.
Okay. You need that. Yeah, here it is. Can you hear my phone? Oh.
Hey, good morning, Vicencia.
Good morning.
Hello. How's your day thus far?
It's just starting.
Is that another view of the office?
No, this is my dining room.
Oh, no way. Cute.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No. You've never taken a tour?
No, I'll take it.
We are in the pantry.
Nice. That is a pretty legit pantry. Only in the old houses can you get pantries like that.
I know. And then we have the kitchen.
So pretty.
Yeah.
Is that a breakfast nook back there?
Yes, it is.
Hey, Joe.
Hello, hello.
I'm making
Joe.
Vicencia
Hi,
give me a
Esther.
tour of her house. It's not weird. It's fine.
Nice, Essencia.
Yes.
Friend.
Hi, Callum.
Hi, hun.
A horse, but I cannot find that was the horse.
What's that?
What a cute little boy. What a cute little boy.
Hi, Keith.
Hi, Keith.
He was talking to Joe.
Hi, Papa Keith.
Oh.
Hello, how are you doing, young man?
Good.
Good. I'm so glad you're good.
Crystal,
All
that
right.
is such a beautiful logo. Is that a new logo for you guys?
Yes, isn't it
I
nice?
love that.
Can you email Mr. Brazil and tell him the meeting's going on right now?
Yeah, that's so
Can you
cool.
email Mr. Brazil and tell him the meeting's going on?
I'm going to put the agenda in the chat for you guys. We actually have a lot of polls. You might have seen that in the last newsletter. We'll explain most of them in the meeting, but polls and a registration link. So if you guys want to get started on that, that would be amazing. They're linked in the agenda right here. And hello, everyone. It's good to see your faces starting to pop on. Hey, Artie. Hi, Jose. Hola, Herman.
Hello, hello.
There you go.
Hey, Lauren. Good to see you.
Morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
So I put the agenda in the chat for you guys. There's a couple of different links that you're going to want to follow. You can do it now in the meeting or later, but throughout the meeting, we'll kind of reference those links and what they're for.
That makes sense.
Hey, Christian, good to see you.
Good to see Joe back,
Yep, he's back. Hanging out in Lowell.
minus an appendix.
Welcome back.
Ooh,
That's funny.
Oh, there's Andrew.
Hey everyone,
Hello.
I'm at the volunteer fair with some other folks out here
Oh,
from,
nice.
there's April over there. You can see her far away.
Hey,
School
April.
programs.
Fresno State.
Andy, would you do introductions? It's probably going to be a little much for me to
Yeah,
have people do introductions.
absolutely.
You got to be mean, Andy. Be mean. Put them on a
Okay.
timer.
Okay, so he's telling me to be like Andrew, be like me.
Hey.
Okay, hey, we are gonna do what we normally do, which is the round robin. We just want to hear what's going on in your guys' neighborhoods, what your organizations are up to. That's always the best part of this meeting, to hear from you guys. But before we do that, Joe is back. I know Artie already pointed that out. And Joe, I hope I'm not putting you on the spot, but we'd love to just say hello, and maybe we'll start with you during the introductions. But welcome back. You have been
Thank you
great.
so much.
So
I've actually really missed this group, and so it feels so good to be with you, Kyle. So good to see you, Andrew. So many of you. Just this is really great. And you guys, 5 months ago, 6 months ago, we weren't this big. So stuff has been happening, moving and shaking, and it all seems to be going in the right direction. So very happy to be back with everybody.
yeah, it's good to have you. Before we jump in, and Joe, maybe I will have you go first, so I'll just warn you, and just giving us a quick 1 minute update on how it's like being back, and then what your plans are for this month. But I also want to mention that we have a guest sitting in, Hector Chavez. He is most likely going to be camera off because he's at that same fair. Hey, Hector, good to see you.
Bye.
So Hector and Herman are representing a neighborhood called Hidalgo. And so they recently started the onboarding process. So they're just sitting in as a guest, as just checking us out and saying hello. So Hector, if you have space to say hello, you're more than welcome to, but we understand if you can't.
Absolutely. Hey guys, thanks for having me and letting me sit in on this meeting. Like Andrew, I'm here at Fresno State, enjoying the weather, sitting in for a friend of mine who just had a baby girl. So really excited about that, but more so excited to be part of this organization and just this group of really cool people. I mean, I know some of you and some of you know me. And again, I'm just really excited for the future of the Hidalgo CDC and everything that that entails, whether it's resident engagement, beautifying the community, and just engaging well with the residents.
Yeah, that's good. Welcome. It's good to see you. And like you said, you probably know most of the people in the room. So we're happy to see you again. And then we'll learn more about Hidalgo as he continues down the road of onboarding. But yeah, let's jump in. I think we're trying to shorten it from 2 minutes to 1 minute so that we have time at the end for you guys to continue to share at the open forum part. But like I mentioned earlier, there's an agenda in the chat. If you guys want to pop that open, there's a couple of important links. But Joe, we're just going to start with you, and then I'll just kind of go down the line of who I can see on my screen. If you want to give us just a 1 minute update of what's going on in your neighborhood.
Sure. So Joe White from representing Jackson CDC in the Jackson neighborhood. Just excited to be back in the saddle after 5 or 6 months being gone, and just noticing that things have been progressing. We had an association meeting this last week, and 30 plus neighbors there engaging on every street of the neighborhood, going through ABCD based exercises, and very excited about that. Excited about the TOD project happening on in Southeast Fresno, along Kings Canyon. Excited about the Drive initiative and setting up a hub serving Jackson Winchell residents. All of that's moving. And now that school's back, all sorts of literacy mentoring off the front, and a variety of programs run all by volunteers, nobody paid, just neighbors serving our neighborhood, the Jackson neighborhood. 8 blocks by 12 blocks and 923 homes. That seems to be what I've seen upon getting back. So, yep.
Yeah, and that was perfect. You had like 10 seconds to spare. Hey, Esther, is it fine just to move to you since you guys are sharing a screen?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. Hi, y'all. Esther Carver here with the Lowell CDC. You know, things are moving and grooving. I'm glad that 2 of my 3 children are back in school. Makes things a little bit easier, but not all the way. So Callum's still hanging out as an intern these days. What's new? We have just started our community outreach interviews with some residents to join us in this work of getting more information, doing some door knocking and some community meetings to find out priorities in the neighborhood and that sort of thing. So that's kind of what we're working on. We're also working on grants, the outdoor equity grant and some others. So that's kind of taken a lot of our time right now. Thanks all.
Vicencia, can we move to you? Same organization, right? When you took a bite too. Isn't that the best?
I was literally just gonna put it back in the plate. That's okay. Currently, there's a Lowell resident who is on her way to Self-Help Federal Credit Union to be able to open up her savings account so she can accrue credit history, because in a year from now she would like to be approved for a home loan. So like these are the things that it's so much work and detail in the background to get to this moment, like taking courses, mentorship, counseling. So that's another part of our big projects that Lowell CDC is working on, is continuing to get, like, it's word of mouth, it's relationship, it's trust, that this is these are programs available to help residents that are really helpful and potentially life-changing.
Sweet, thank you. Hey, Lauren, do you mind sharing?
Sure. Good morning. Yeah, I think the big thing for us right now is we just finished interviewing several men who will be part of our workforce residential program for the next 10 months. They'll be moving into some apartments, and then we'll be working on workforce development, job placement, team building, and then spiritual formation. So that's taken some work right now, but we're getting ready to move them in. And then a couple of nights ago, we had our first community listening group related to the outdoor equity grant that Esther brought up. So those are 2 things we're working on currently.
Thank you. Better Blackstone team. I don't know who wants to go first. Keith, Ivan, Christian. Look how excited Ivan is.
Ivan, Christian, you guys want to jump in real quick? Oh, you gonna swallow?
Hi, yes, I'm helping Andy taking notes, but I will go. Hi, everyone. Christian Gonzalez, with a Blackstone project coordinator. Let's see, we are tagging along with our PBID outreach, which Ivan has been doing, and I'm just like the brains in the back of the operation, making sure we are inputting data, making sure I give them the right maps of where to go, along with something that I've been working on very closely with Keith is Keith, Andy, and others, the website for a Better Blackstone Design Challenge. We're hoping to publish by the end of this year, publish all the great work we've done with our local architects. I've been getting quotes to film our architects. Keith and I spent the last 2 weeks doing like a Zack Snyder's director's cut of the project with the architects. It was really nice to reflect with them. And yeah, I forgot we're on a time limit. I'll pass it over to the rest of the team. Thank you.
Sorry, I had been chewing some candy. Better Blackstone. I've been working with residents from the Susan B. Anthony neighborhood. We met with the traffic engineer a couple of weeks ago. Research action, just asking really good questions and making sure that every resident had a role in interviewing the traffic engineer. We are now shifting into interviewing council members to get these crosswalks implemented across Abbey and Blackstone in their area. So once we get a lot of this information, we're going to assemble that information and try to figure out a plan. But right now we're just gleaning, we're collecting insight. And then the other thing is I'm doing a lot of PBID outreach. So businesses and property owners, every single person brings a new experience. So it's kind of fun. Sometimes you get attitudes, other times you get enthusiasm, and it's just, you never know what you're gonna get. So it's been fun. I've been able to hit every business or property from Highway 180. I am now on a little north of Clinton. And I think in the next 2 weeks, I'm going to finish our project area, but we still need to follow up with a lot of phone calls, and we are preparing a good strategy for that. So that's about it.
Sweet, thanks, Ivan.
Thanks, Ivan. I just say this PBID's really intense. It's all the commercial and mixed use zone properties between 180 and Dakota. It's very intense. So we'll share more as we progress about how to work on a PBID.
Yeah. Thank you, Sept.
I'll do a brief one and then Gabe can add to what I don't say. Basically, we have been doing a lot of preparatory work for the transit-oriented development study that we're doing along the Ventura-Kings Canyon corridor. We are planning to have some meetings with business owners along the corridor to follow up on a few issues that have been discussed before with them. And we're also continue to be connected with our Southeast Fresno Regional Park and Soccer Complex. That is an ongoing saga. It's a very challenging process, but we're waiting to get information on our 6.9 million grant from Prop 68. We're praying that we get it, but it's up to God. If we don't get it, it's fine. It's whatever God wants, and we're okay with that. And we're having a cleanup project that I think Gabe would tell us more about. Gabriel.
Good morning, everyone. Glad to see everybody healthy, stay safe. Yeah, we're having a cleanup on Saturday with a church. That is North Park Community Church, 50 volunteers. We're also bringing in some community residents. We're going to clean the 49-acre park. We're probably going to get like 6 to 7 loads of green waste. Like Ms. Braza said, we've been doing a lot of outreach to the community. The unique thing about Sept is that I'm a long life kid from Southeast. So a lot of people reaching out to us about a lot of different issues, probably about 300, been knocking on doors for our workforce. We referred people to the forestry program for Workforce Investment Board. A lot of outreach, cleaning up, visiting we're right in the thick of things, like Better Blackstone on the corridor. I think this corridor is a little romantic, and I know a lot of the owners, and just a lot of the it's almost like we become their go-to issues thing. And Mr. Braza has a great plan, working with a lot of community partners and getting services done, and also collecting data. We've had meetings for the transit thing that Mr. Braza had, and also for the Southeast Steering Committee. So 2 different projects, but some of it's the same, some of it's not, but exciting things to keep going. We're working with Better Blackstone, every neighborhood, and Drew from the city and the planning, long-term planning department. And that's good. Sept is very active in the community.
Seconds, Gabe.
Right. And we have so much more, but thank you, everyone.
Thank you. That minute. Adams.
Hi. So we've been working on our social media, all our social media. So we're really excited about that. Andy, you saw our new logo. And so we're working on lots of different things so the community can reach out to us in many different forms. And something that we're excited about too is we're going to be partnering with so Fresno City College. They're going to help us get 2 students from Fresno City College on an internship for us to hire. And hopefully we're going to be able to, they'll be able to, they're going to live in the area. That's what I'm trying to say. So they're going to live in the Jane Addams area. And that would be so awesome to have them, you know, working with us. And we're really excited about that. So look out for our social media. You guys add us and you can see all the cool things that we're doing.
Thank you, Christian. Elaine, did you want to add anything?
Sure, I do. Sorry for my appearance. I am working, hanging things up, working around the house. So, one of the other things, yeah, Phil mentioned all pretty cool stuff that's happening. One of the other things that is going on is working very closely with housing motels on Parkway Drive. So we'll have some really good news to share in the not too distant future. One super exciting thing is Angie on?
No, I think she was on another meeting.
Okay, so the signs, the motel signs are finally coming down now. So that, you know, people will know these are not just for rent. These are places that will be rehabbed soon in apartment complex. Yeah.
Thanks, Elaine. ENP, you are up.
Yeah, I can share. I know Andrew's having an awesome blast time right now at City College. Yeah, so Refresno. So our Refresno program is kicking off, launching this week. We have about 6 sites, 6 new sites. So historically, ENP has done digital literacy, or I'm sorry, literacy mentoring on campus at various school sites throughout the city of Fresno, different neighborhoods. And now we're launching our after school program, which is awesome. Building our capacity of kids learning, being intentional in that process. We're also finishing up our last month of our promotor work, our community health worker program in the 93702 zip code. And we're going to cap it off with a health fair next Friday at Mosquito Center in partnership with District 5, Luis Chavez's office. We are going to do a community event, a health fair, vaccine clinic, bull vaccine clinic. We'll have some vendors, some fun activities for families and kids in the area, and some adults, and we'll do some resident engagement as well. So that's exciting. That's on the horizon. Also, we just recently hired a new Saturday sports or recreational resilience director to continue our programming on green sites at some of the schools. So I'll be looking forward to that. Hey, and I also want to give space for Daniel to share about the CAN initiative.
Good morning, all. How we doing? Happy Wednesday. Yes. All right. Seen some smiles and some thumbs up. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah. So still working with Fresno Housing on the California Avenue Neighborhood Project. Had an exciting conversation today, which included the city of Fresno on the topic of brownfields. So there is quite a bit of, for those who've been doing work with brownfields, there is quite a bit of funding out there for brownfields projects. So keep that in your back pocket. And the topic of discussion for us is launching a community plaza on Fresno housing property in a way optimistically a way to activate culture, activity center, food market, you know, all the above, right? So it is a communal space for the community to benefit from. And the last thing is, I'm going to drop a link in the chat that I was made aware of today. It's called MALT out of Fresno State. As you're doing your place-based development, check out this map. I haven't perfected how to use this yet, so you'll need to figure this out a little bit on your own. But you can look at historical topical photographs of properties. I was looking at Southwest Fresno back to 1942. So they're now vacant lots, but I have topical photographs of what was once there. So maybe beneficial in your projects. All right, blessings all.
Sweet, thank you, ENP. I'm gonna move over to Tower. Nicole, if you wanna jump in.
Yeah, good morning, everyone. Super brief update, but also very, very exciting. We met a couple of weeks ago to review our articles of incorporation and bylaws. And then we are going to connect again on Friday to solidify it all. So we are so close to filing. And I think we all feel really good. Kyle's on the call, Daniel's on the call, but we've made some pretty significant progress in the last few weeks. So if I've missed anything, guys, please jump in.
That's awesome. Congratulations. Kyle, do you want to give an update on South Tower?
Yes, good morning. What is the update? So Kyle Lopez-Schmidt, Director of the South Tower Trust. We had a really great meeting a week ago, pulling together kind of our founding board and getting agreement on a lot of the kind of focus of work and values and things. So felt good about that progress. Yeah, that's it.
Okay, thanks, friend. Eric, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. You have to forgive my background noise. Yeah, the West Fresno CDC, we are in the process of making some significant organizational changes. We have our board meeting this evening, so hope to have some better updates for you. We did participate in the West Fresno site tour with the city and St. Rest Church to look at brownfield sites along the Elm Corridor and North Avenue. Yeah, those are all my updates. Thanks again.
Thanks, Eric. Good to see you. Marcy, I know you were traveling. I don't know if you're able to give a quick update or if you're just listening in.
Yeah, sure, no problem. Hi, I'm Marcy Santana with St. Rest CEDC. We've been pretty busy. Well, I've been pretty busy. I'm fairly new, about a month in, so I'm still learning all of the processes and all of the things that I need to do. Been working with the church and some things that they have going on. Also working with the Self-Help Credit Union. I have a meeting with them on Friday, looking at some down payment assistance programs for the Southwest community residents. Also working with Artie's been great and helping me out with phase 2 of our Kresge grant. So lots of exciting stuff that kind of was in the works and just trying to get it across the finish line. So just excited. Thank you.
Thanks, Marcy. Jan, I think you were the last one with Chinatown.
Jan, you're muted. We can't hear you.
Thank you. That doesn't help. So this is my report. The cones are out in Chinatown, and take pictures of them, post them on social media. There may be prizes. Andy, do you want me to expand?
Yeah, this can be your time to share. I don't have a timer on for you.
Oh, okay. So I'm leaving Chinatown. They made some changes in what they wanted done and how they wanted it done, and I wasn't comfortable with that. So I'm working with Chinatown until the end of until the 10th of September, and then I'll be gone. So if any of you know of any projects, I'm good with projects, like getting the foundation started and that sort of thing. So I have a couple, I work with other cities. I work in Kingsburg and Selma and Clovis and, so anyway, if anybody has any projects that they think they're interested for me personally, contact me at, I'll put it in the chat, the way to reach me.
Hey, Jan, it's Keith. You
Yeah.
have a lot of experience in a range of organizational and project level stuff. Is there a resume or a prospectus that you might share with everybody? Because I don't think everybody would have a range to know all the menu items you check off as being potentially a consultant or something like that. Is there something you can provide to all of us so we can connect with that?
Amiconcepts.com. I have a website. So
Can you
I'll
drop
put,
that in the chat for us? I also sent you a message. Thanks again.
I will do that. I'll put, yep, my email address and my website. I'll put in the chat. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Jan. Yeah, I know your leadership has been such a valuable part of this partnership, so it'll continue, just look a little different. So thank you so much for sharing.
I will be part of that developer forum with everybody. So I'll be seeing people there for on Tuesdays for the rest of the month.
Yeah.
And I may be doing some of that work in Chinatown, just not with the foundation. Thank you, Esther.
All right, I think we got anyone. If I missed you, you can speak up now, or you can also give your update in the chat. Herman, I'm gonna move to you if you're ready to talk about the community engagement poll.
Yeah, for sure. And just want to give some shout out to Jan. I spent time yesterday with her, with our Brownfield Coalition team in Chinatown. So it was wonderful to spend time with her, or kind of her last task for the Brownfield Coalition in Chinatown. So that was awesome. We're going to definitely miss you. Yeah, so I did share on the link on the chat box, a link for a poll that we are sharing with some of the CEDP members. So a new round of rescue funds is opening up for some of the CEDP members who are applying for this grant to do particular resident engagement. And so some of our folks, our teams from Metro and EEP are co-designing some workshops, about 4 workshops with emphasis on training and building capacity of residents in their communities. So we ask that you guys who are applying, please take a minute or two today. It's a short survey, about 7 questions to fill out. If you guys can have that done by today, that'd be so super helpful on our end, so we can start planning our training to have those locked down by next month. Yeah, so if you have any questions on that, feel free to hit up Andy or some of us on AEP side. If you have any questions, we'll more likely to answer those questions.
Thanks, Herman. Esther, would you like to share a little bit about the grant workshop?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
So we have talked a lot about grant writing as a CEDP. We had a grant workshop a few months back that had a lot of helpful information, but what we as a Lowell CDC, and I know others have been kind of talking about and looking for, is like, how do we actually put together for our organization, what does it look like to have all of our grant stuff in one place, to have a process and a system for applying for grants? How do we have all that stuff organized? What is kind of our outline for doing that? So Kelsey, who has worked with several of us in the past, she's one of our board members, Kelsey McVeigh. She's a great grant writer, has worked with Metro, she works for the EOC currently, has in the past and currently, doing grant writing and management. And so she's gonna help me out. And we're gonna just share with you all really our system that we have in Google Docs, so you guys can recreate that for your organization. It's really, it's gonna be a workshop. It's not just gonna be us talking at you. We're gonna share our system of how we have kind of this Google Docs folder for our grants, how we organize them by year. And so you guys will have some templates. Andy's working on putting together some really cool, good looking templates, because I can't make them good looking. But she's working on putting together some templates that then you can use spreadsheets to not only organize your grants, have all in one place, like the grants that you're going to apply for, the, you know, what their due dates are, how much they are for, what program they're for, but then also folders to help organize each grant. So say I'll use an example of like a Wells Fargo grant. There's attachments that will have to be put together to apply for that grant. There's narratives that have to be put together for that grant. And so how to organize all the elements of a grant and then write to the elements of each grant. So so that's what we're doing. Sign up. It will be on Zoom or in person. So my staff will be here at the office with Kelsey and Andy. We don't have, like, if everyone wanted to show up, we might have to find a little bit bigger space, but in person, but let us know if you want to be in person or online. And we look forward to sharing our process with you to hopefully help your processes go smoother.
Yeah, I put the registration link in the chat. It's helpful for you guys to register as soon as possible, mainly for those numbers. If a large majority of you want to do that in person, then we are going to have to find a bigger space like she mentioned. And so just getting signed up and letting us know your preference would be helpful. And that is all. Before we move on to the next thing, does anybody have any questions about the grant writing workshop that we can help make clear for you? Or just want to speak into what might be helpful for us to process as we begin to plan?
Yes, sir. I'm sorry. Well, Andy or anyone that can address a quick question. Have we explored the possibility of creating a resource where, and when I say a resource, it could be an individual or a consultant or somebody that can help the organizations that don't have the staff to prepare grants. I mean, can that type of either technical assistance in the actual preparation of the grants? What has been described, it seems to be more about the management of the overall process. But I'm talking about an even lower, more down-to-earth need that some groups may have in terms of getting a staff person that could maybe provide technical assistance, maybe could even actually help with parts of a grant to the smaller organizations. And some of us, you know, we are successful in some grants and we're not successful in others. But I just ask, is there some help that that could be available? And I know that, I think we discussed before about even workshops on how to prepare grants. All of that is good, but at some point you need the bodies to actually prepare the grants. And sometimes, anyway, that's it.
Yeah, so I can answer part of that, maybe not all of it. So in my experience, Jose, the best person to write grants for our organization is me, because I know every part of our organization. I know our strengths, I know our programs, and I know what I can deliver in the next year on any specific grant. If I were to hire someone to write it for me, they would have to spend their time and my time getting to know the organization, asking me all the questions to then take it back and write it, right? So then I'm spending not only my time, but I'm also spending money on someone else's time to write it. And so I think my goal with this workshop is to really help empower and equip all of us who are the ones who know our organizations the best to actually write our own grants. So Kelsey is really good at this part. She's going to be doing this part of like, what elements need to be an executive summary for our organization? What elements do we need to have organized as far as mission, vision, program descriptions, how to write for measurables, right? Those sorts of elements that we can put together that every single grant is going to ask for. Yeah, grants are different for each organization, but you know, if we're writing a general operating grant to 2 or 3 funders, most of the information we're going to be giving those 2 or 3 funders is going to be the same information, just packaged differently, right? So we want to help equip you to tell your story and have your package together so that you're equipped to rearrange your package and deliver it to different funders. And so, yeah, there are going to be times where we might need to bring in someone. I think Andy can speak into that, or Andy can be that person in some cases to help us maybe organize our grant to get it in. There may be an opportunity where we hire someone like the gentleman who did our last workshop, right? An outsider to come in and do the actual grant writing for us. But again, they're going to, any grant writer we hire is going to rely on us, Jason Williams, thank you. Any grant writer we hire is going to rely on us to give them the information that they need in order to write our grants for us. And so anyway, so this is just like one step to help equip all of us who are actually the best people to write about what we're doing and what we can deliver to do that better. So there will be more opportunities in the future for bigger grant writing and other things, but this is what Kelsey and I can offer at this round.
I think that this is Gabe, by the way. I think you're right on knowing the essence of each organization. Like me and Mr. Braza, it's just us, so we know what's going on. He deals with certain parts, I deal with certain parts, and so yeah, we know it. And if we bring in someone from the outside, it would, we have to like orient them to the essence of what's going on, why, the reasoning why we do it, you know. But I guess what you're saying is you're setting up your files to where it's standard information, like the IRS letters, stuff like that, I guess, and categorizing the mission statements, programming, the definition of it, doing comparative stuff, organizing it yearly, right? Is that kind of what you're saying?
Yeah, we'll put together our structure, and then Kelsey's going to help with the actual, like, some tips on writing, things that grant funders look for. Sabrina, did you have a question?
Yeah, I just had a comment just to follow up on the previous question about, you know, how do you hand off to a grant writer? And I think there is a way to do that without, you know, continuing to stretch the resources of the, you know, the president or the CEO of the CDC, because you're already wearing many, many hats. So one of the ways, and I think this is probably what you guys are doing with your workshop, is creating that boilerplate information, that standard information that includes the budget, executive summary, the data, the background, and then any other nuances specific to that grant. And I think with that in hand, it's easier to hand off or punt to a grant writer, because as long as they have that boilerplate information and they have like an overview of the project you want to fund or an overview of the capacity you're trying to meet, I think that handing off to a consultant to write frees you up to do the other work, which is, you know, reaching out to the funders, building relationships, and keeping, you know, all the cogs on the wheel turning. I think it's a lot for the director and CEO to then also be the grant writer. That's been my experience. I've done both, and I prefer to work with a consultant, but you have to have that boilerplate information totally lined up before you hand it off to a consultant. But I think having a yes and approach and coaching to that, so that as you grow in capacity, you're not also trying to lead the big picture and also, you know, write grants. And I think it gets very convoluted, and I think it gets very difficult to continue to try to do both as you scale, as you build in capacity.
Thank you, Sabrina. I think you said that beautifully. I think we all need to have our key things together, whether we're writing our grants or we're handing it off to somebody else. It's all the same information that needs to be put together. So thank you.
And hey, Sabrina, I don't know if you saw in the chat, Artie is hoping that you would share the cost of consultants and how that works in the chat, so we can have that as reference.
Yeah, I can definitely do that. And it all depends really on the consultant, what they set as their rate. So what I've traditionally found is that a consultant will have a rate based on their success, and then you'll negotiate from there. What I caution people, agencies from doing, I don't think this is a standard anymore, but way back in the day, there used to be a process where grant writers would get a certain percentage of the grant if it was funded. You're not actually paying for the grant to be funded, because there are many things that go into decision-making when it comes to actual funding as the grant. And I'm just putting on my former philanthropy manager hat. There could be things like looking, as you're looking at a grant, you could be looking at, differences between what the budget is saying, the budget justification, and the actual scope of work could have some discrepancies. And these are just reasons why grants may not be funded. Or you're looking at overall agency capacity, the operating budget, and the program budget. And there are some discrepancies with that, with the budget spread, with the project budget and the operational budget. Or maybe you're looking at a new agency that is, moving into new territory and doesn't have capacity or proven success in that area. So those are all reasons that grants, may not be funded. So then what do you do with a contract if you have, a grant writer who says, I'll write this grant for a percentage? So that is not standard industry any longer, but really checking in on your grant writer and doing the due diligence to see what is their success rate. Do you know others who have worked with them? Is their hourly rate reasonable? Does it fit your budget? And what are the final deliverables for that? So I can, I'll send some things out to the group that will be helpful. And then, you guys can let me know if it works for you, if you need more information. I've got a lot of stuff on my laptop. I'm on my cell phone now. So when I log in, I can send it out via email to you all, and then you let me know what worked.
Okay, thanks, Sabrina. And if you like to, just for the sake of time, I'm going to move on from the grant writing stuff, but I'm happy to leave this conversation open so that after the meeting, anyone who wants to stay and just chat in general can do that. But also, Sabrina, if you don't mind hanging out for a little while, we can ask you questions more specifically, so you can share that information after this. Andrew, I am going to hand it to you. I know you guys got a cool partnership going on with the outdoor grant. So whenever you are ready, if you are able, please feel free to jump in and share.
Yeah, no, I mean, it goes along with, the previous conversation, as I think CDP is all about building our capacity and continuing to work together for larger scale or more impactful programming. And so, that's part of this next round of funding, right, is to build our community engagement, capacities and skills. But one of the, I want to just mention as that a cool highlight is Esther over at Lowell and Jackson, CDC, and then also FACE have all been doing outdoor kind of recreation programming over the last couple of years, and are beginning to think about grants that we could maybe work on together, or even we had a meeting, it was probably 2 or 3 weeks ago, but all EMP joined as well, and all of us getting together to say, all right, hey, there's this state outdoor equity grant that is really focused on getting kids, low-income kids and families who typically wouldn't have access to California parks out into the parks system. But we all got together and just said, all right, here's the grant. Kelly from FACE did a fantastic presentation of here's what's in it, here's what you have to have. And then do we want to work together on this? Well, what do each of us bring? And then Kelly also works for another organization that could be a backbone agency for applying. So I just thought it's another cool way that the CEDP is working together to partner for these kind of larger scale grants, and also just to link arms and to say, hey, do we want to go in together, or do we want to both apply separately? And then, and what are the different things that we're doing? So in that meeting, we learned more about the programming each of us have had, how it's worked, and then even how we may apply for this grant. So we'll, keep working on that process, but just, I think, a celebration more than anything to say that the CEDP is working. Obviously, we've seen that with housing, but a really great update too on the outdoor grant. I don't know if Lauren or Esther want to say anything more, but yeah, I just wanted to mention that.
Yeah, that's awesome. I got to talk to Esther a little bit about it yesterday, so I can't wait to have you guys continue to update on the progress of that. So that's cool. Thank you, Andrew. So we have the next few minutes, we just kind of scheduled for open forum, open conversation time, just to allow you guys the space to, just like we did with the grant writing conversation, to bring stuff to the table that you would just like to talk about, either something you're working on or need help with, or events coming up. So I am just going to sit back for a little while, and if any of you guys have items to share or to discuss, let's do that.
Just one thing on my end. Wondering if it might be of value in for a meeting in the future, just to have a short discussion, Keith, looking specifically at Better Blackstone and you guys, just to help us understand the PBID process and what that's been like, and how that might be integrated in some of the work that we all do in business corridors.
Happy to do it. It's very rigorous and harsh at this stage. So yeah, we'd be happy to explain it to you. It's very technical as well. Very, very technical.
I can also get you some information if you want on that. I formed the PBID for the Downtown Fresno Partnership, and I've been involved with the other PBID and bid formation stuff. So if you have any questions, let me know.
Yeah, Keith, that'd be awesome I asked a question in the chat, but if anyone else is interested in having that conversation, I'm happy to organize the meeting and send it out for you guys. So if you guys just want a little hand raise or say me in the chat, just so I can get a feel for how many people would like to be invited to that meeting. Thanks for doing that, Keith.
Yeah, we'd be happy to do it. I guess throwing in some other stuff just to follow up on housing. I actually have a meeting with the director of the Housing and Community Development Department of the state of California next week to talk about fair housing, and it relates to our work CDP. I'm trying to tee up the CEDP as a grassroots network that can work on fair housing in Fresno and see if we can't get a direct pipeline into HCD. For those of you who don't know, this is the huge housing department of the state of California that is actually doing all kinds of guidelines on new money coming down, and they interact with Strategic Growth Council on sustainable housing, affordable housing, sustainable communities grants, a whole bunch of stuff. So we're following up in pieces on this housing, and new projects are popping up. Working with Esther on this MINT idea, mixed income, a neighborhood trust. I don't know if you want to talk about that a little bit, Esther, just say anything about that.
Yeah, I'm super excited. So the folks with MINT, Mixed Income Neighborhood Trust, they're out of Kansas City, have put together neighborhood trusts in 2 different cities and are now considering partnering with all of us here in Fresno. And so we're having conversations now with them, focused on downtown neighborhoods, around our transit corridors, that would put together a neighborhood trust that would be for mixed income. So it is a little bit different from a community land trust that's like 100% affordable housing. It would be a little bit different structure, but it would partner with several of us in our downtown neighborhoods. So we're talking about feasibility right now. And so if you want to know more or look into their stuff, like let me know. But we're having those conversations. It's really fun. I would love to know, Keith, I just was at a workshop where we talked about the funding coming from HCD, from the state, that could be available for community land trusts in possibly purchasing properties that could be pre-foreclosure due to the COVID crisis. And I would love to know if your conversation with HCD is going to include any of that, any information around that funding that could be coming, because that's a great opportunity to start doing maybe land banking to keep our residents in their houses and not lose their homes, but also create some really housing in perpetuity for the folks that currently live there and beyond.
Yeah, give me an email and we'll talk. I've got like 4-point agenda. I've got 29 minutes with the guy, so I'm moving pretty fast. I'm also looking at some other funding streams that could come in. So yeah, identify anything you want me to talk about and I will tee it up. I guess another thing to add here, if you aren't familiar with Here to Stay, this anti-displacement set of recommendations, they extended the time frame for comments to share with the city and the anti-displacement task force, which will actually meet about all the community input the city got on this before they recommend something to the Planning Commission and the City Council. They've extended the date for comments to September 10th. I'm kind of interacting with the city 3 or 4 times a week on different aspects of this. And I will say for edification that a clear antidote to some of the displacement issues is equitable TOD, meaning transit-oriented development that includes a majority of affordable housing and services and businesses and things like that for affordable housing. So I think our corridor concepts are pretty powerful. And there's some evidence from other regions that our bus rapid transit corridors actually are possibly a space to build a lot of equitable TOD that could help, solve some of this displacement problem, in addition to 1,000 other things that have to be done.
I agree with that, Keith.
I'll stop. Thanks for the opportunity.
Another thing that I can give an update on, and if anybody else from the the committee wants to jump in and give comment or feedback, please do. But we're still planning the all board meeting for the end of October. Just watching the COVID numbers, we're just keeping an eye on what the county is going to do as far as how many numbers can gather and such. So we'll keep you guys updated on that. But we also, in the newsletter last week, and I'll include it in the chat here, have created an RSVP for both you and your board members that'll help us kind of discern the same thing that we're discerning for the grant workshop, which is how many people are planning on attending in person versus online. So we're working to have an online option, but it'd be helpful for us to know numbers as we move forward and plan so that we can make sure that we're just being safe and considerate and keeping everyone healthy. So I'm going to put that RSVP in the chat. If you guys have any questions or comment on the event, we're happy. I think the majority of the committee is here, so we're happy to answer questions. But please fill this RSVP out as soon as possible and share it with the board members that you intend to invite as well, just so our numbers are accurate.
Hey, I just like to show the map of the corridor study that the city gave us because we're home ported right here. I just am so excited. It's like, it's not as much as information that Keith and the Better Blackstone, but it's just a cool map for me. But if you could see it, I'm gonna walk along it. It's from Chestnut to First Avenue. It's almost like a job of keeping it on the wall itself, but that's kind of what's going on, and the Better Blackstone, Septa, Jackson neighborhood, we're all working on and stuff. You can see it. Probably goes about 30 feet, the map. I mean, the picture.
Thanks, Gabe.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, we can see it. Cool. All right, friends. So we have a few more minutes. Is there anything else that you guys would like to chat about? Like I mentioned before to Sabrina, I'm going to leave this meeting open. So any and all of you guys are more than welcome to just hang out after, chat, say hello to Hector, ask Sabrina any questions, ask me questions.
Hey, real quick, I just want to say something personal. I just want to say a prayer for the 12 brothers and sisters that we lost overseas. And I don't want to get into politics, but that's what, they're just my brothers and sisters. And I just want to say, we could all say a prayer for them. Thank you.
Great point, and prayer for Louisiana as well. As we know, a lot of work has been gone into rebuilding the infrastructure there, and then they're just pummeled by another storm. So yeah, if we prayer for Louisiana and other Gulf areas been hit hard by hurricanes and natural disasters.
I agree with you, Sabrina. It's Elaine. And I have been doing a lot of outreach with Tracewell Hanrahan from Fresno Housing. As you all know, she lives there in that area. And we have so many friends, Sabrina and I, and I'm sure others do as well, that live in that area. So if we could, say prayers for those folks, they're definitely in need. Thank you.
And finally, Keith, I posted this in the chat. I'm not sure if you've seen it yet, but if we could do, I don't know if you'd be interested, Keith, in doing a workshop on equitable transit-oriented development, so we could take a deeper dive to see what CDCs can do in their footprints. I know for Southwest Fresno, for us, we've been doing some data collection, and I've done this also on my own, just riding the bus with moms to see how long it actually takes to get to a grocery store, to get somewhere to buy fresh food. And many times it's a 2-hour ride both ways. So I know we're looking at transit-oriented development downtown and downtown neighborhoods, but in areas that are disjointed, disconnected, like Southwest Fresno, I know we've got the Elm Corridor work. I've done a lot of work on the 41 and North Corridor strategy years ago. There's still not equitable connectivity in those areas. So wondering if you would, quote, take us to school, Keith, as the subject matter expert, and let's do a deeper dive with a workshop, and so that we can all learn how do we best advocate for equitable TOD in our footprints.
Well, be happy to do that. And Artie and I are having a meeting on, I think, September 15th. We've invited some people to it just to get this Fresno Opportunity Corridor Drive Initiative fleshed out. And then I think we do need to distinguish between transit systems and transit-oriented development, which is a land use, right? The transit-oriented development is a land use. And then we have, high-frequency transit and multi-mobility systems. So I'd be happy to do it. I think we can arrange something like that. And we probably should do it in the context of what we're trying to get done with streetscapes and actual transportation systems and land use along those streetscapes with transportation systems. So maybe October, November, be happy to have a real long, nice workshop.
I think that would be great. And if we can invite Caltrans and other subject matter experts in, that would be awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right, friends, we can continue this conversation in just a minute. I just want to wrap up this meeting for those of you guys who have to go. Joe, welcome back. It was good to see you. We look forward to continuing to, just see what's going on in your neighborhood. Like I said, anyone who wants to stay after, you're more than welcome. But until then, we will see you at the grant workshop. So we'll see you in a few weeks. Goodbye, guys. Bye, Joe. Keith, thank you. Hi, Evan. All right, Sabrina, thank you. I'm not sure anyone has questions at this point, but thank you so much. I actually copied all of your resources, so I'm going to include it in the newsletter tomorrow. But I also will just stick your email in the newsletter too, in case people want to contact you directly, if that's okay.
Yeah, that's fine. That's
Okay.
good.
Yeah, great. It was good to see you. I'm gonna put a note to put your contact information in the newsletter.
Awesome. I have a different, can you, instead of my Gmail, so it doesn't get overwhelmed,
Yeah.
let me put it in the chat, another email. It's just very easy. It's just Sabrina Kelly, Kelley,
Okay.
at kellycommunityrelations.com.
I'm sorry, what was it? Maybe I'll just wait for the chat.
Yeah, I'm doing it right
Okay.
now. So,
Sounds good.
so
Hector, I don't know if you're still with us or if it's just your face. Yeah, it's helpful to have your expertise. It sounds like a lot of partners are going to need that, like just maybe the extra consultation. So
yeah, and having worked as a foundation officer, in banking, it is very, and also working with other foundation officers, because like once you're in that world, you share information, you call, you talk about things like, this is a really great idea, but looking behind the great idea and the story of the idea and the program, what does the application really reveal about the organization? And the organization doesn't realize that once you submit all that stuff, really the foundation officer is looking at your petticoat, like your underpinnings, like how are you really looking on paper? Do you look like a solvent, strong agency, or do you look nascent and struggling? Or do you look like, okay, this is somebody that we want to invest in capacity development? Or maybe you're not requesting capacity development. Maybe you're asking for, resources to really refine and retune your programmatic development strategy. And that's really important, because a lot of organizations apply for grants, and they crank out programs to get more money, which creates more work for already stretched staff. And
yeah.
and my recommendation is against that. Like, don't create new programs, find new money for existing programs,